Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host, Saieed Ali, a spiritual consultant and real estate businessman. Remember, for those of you that are having spiritual problems, you can feel free to contact me. Those of you who have properties to sell, you can also contact me. I want to say a special good night to you viewers of Real Talk in Trinidad and Tobago, up the Caribbean and around the world. Now viewers, those of you that are on our page, Real Talk with Saieed Ali, like and share as we go live. Encourage your friends, encourage your family, your neighbors, the people in the taxi, your co-workers. Encourage them to look at Real Talk viewers, because we remain the #1 current affairs program in Trinidad and Tobago. That position we hold. So those of you on YouTube, subscribe. Those of you who don't know about it, tell your friends, tell your family, for those of you who know. And continue spreading the word about Real Talk. Subscribe TT Real Talk in YouTube and you will know when we go live, viewers. Now, our page keep you up to date with events and news throughout the day. That is Real Talk with Saieed Ali page. Encourage people to like and share. Now, our page have been doing very well. We have been reaching thousands of people and it keeps growing. So I do want to thank you for those of you who have liked our page and shared it. Continue. So viewers, as we start off tonight, it's Fire Friday. Feel free to call in 238-6716. You know, usually we give you the opportunity on Friday to call in and discuss issues that is going on with you, things in your community. And now is election time. So feel free to call in now and tell us what is being done in your area. And how would you class it? Is it an election gimmick or was something that they will continue doing? Feel free. Now is the time. This is the platform. And thank you again. I want to thank you again, viewers, for making us the third most best newscast in Trinidad and Tobago. Remember, there are two big networks in Trinidad. And for Real Talk with Saieed Ali to come third, that is an amazing gift to Real Talk. It is amazing. And you know, from 6 to 8, there's only 2 shows on Synergy TV, the one before me and me. So we are the second most viewed from 6 to 8. So more or less it's like the 2 shows ranking in one level. But nevertheless, I want to thank you all. You know, last night, I was on my bed last night. And I was like, you know, Lord, thank you so much. You know, for at least coming third, because third is a pass. And, you know, to stand out against 2 big giants, 2 media house in Trinidad. You know, I so want to thank you for that. And to thank the viewers, it is an amazing thing. You know, for those of you who would experience this joy, this overwhelming joy, is that, you know, it's something that you never expected. You're already established. Well, hey, I drive in a BMW and, you know, just like that, somebody come and give you a Ferrari out of the blues. You know that feeling you get? Well, last night, whole night, I had that feeling. But nevertheless, I thank God for it, and I thank you for making us. Very soon, we'll be hitting #1, I am definitely sure. I am definitely sure about that. Because what if the physical thing will stop me? God will make a way. And where there's a way, there's a will. And where there's a will, there's a way. It works hand in hand. So thank you once more, viewers. But as we start off tonight, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has announced that gathering will now be limited to 10. Caller, good night.
Good night, Mr. Saieed.
Go right ahead there.
I would like to find out why Rowley and Stuart Young do not go and stand up by the borders and then where they call in all the people to come in. All the virus that it has right now, they want to study the bar and the school and not in the Venezuelan and then what bringing in this COVID virus. Understand, Mr. Saieed?
Thank you there for calling in. Thank you, my friend. This comes in light of the latest increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country in recent days. Dr. Rowley said, while we do not need to panic, listen carefully here, while we do not need to panic, it is important that we protect lives.
We are going to respond, not through panic or through overreaction, but we would respond now to reducing the amount of contact that is likely to happen. And to do so, we would go back from the groups permitted, groups of 25, going back to a permitting of groups of 10. So we will change the regulation and reduce the number of people who are congregating or allowed to congregate. So that is the fundamental response of reducing the amount of persons exposed.
Dr. Rowley held a media conference earlier to address the issue. He said funerals and religious congregations can continue to operate within the public health guidelines for now.
We will maintain our protocols like the numbers at funerals, numbers indoors, numbers in churches where you observe the wearing of the mask and the social distancing. We're not changing any of that.
He said changes will also be made to the public service.
We would ask the public service, through communication between the CMO's office and the public service group under the permanent secretaries, to reduce the amount of public servants who are out at any one time. And the way to do that is to either have them come to work alphabetically or rotate them by days for the next 14 days, next 2 weeks, and see if we see anything that warrants further response. If nothing appears that requires a response, and we come back to where we are now.
The Prime Minister is firm that if there is a need for law enforcement to ensure that persons obey the law, then it will happen.
And law enforcement will be required in Trinidad and Tobago and is required to ensure that the gentle things that we say we ought to do must be done. If people are going to attempt to congregate in larger numbers, and that includes political parties, then law enforcement must act, not out of a punishment mode, but out of a preservation mode, in order to protect the population. So from tomorrow, we expect that we would go back to the numbers of 10, and we expect that the political parties engage. It shouldn't be a problem for many political parties, the ones with only a maxi full of people.
Now, viewers, while Dr. Rowley said they will enforce the law to ensure that persons obey the law, he is also saying that schools, restaurants, and bars will also be monitored.
1, school, and 2, bars. And these are 2 areas that we knew before were areas that were of concern to us because of the nature of the activity. The detailed scientific study done by Dr. Hines and his team would have identified the one instance where the person, a household is infected, a child from the household goes to school and infects children in the school. We thought very deeply about that, and we weighed it on all sides, and we believe at this time today, even while we are here, we got additional information of another school which had to be closed because the contact tracing has taken us to another school which now requires to be closed.
Now, viewers, we just want to have a discussion tonight. Dr. Rowley said, while we do not need to panic, it is important that we protect lives. Caller, good night.
Good night, Mr. Ali.
Go right ahead.
Calling from Sandy Grande.
Welcome, Sandy
Mr.
Grande.
Ali, last week Friday when I called concerning the license office in Sandy Grande, and I told you it's election gimmick.
Yes.
Mr. Ali, when an office open, you're supposed to have staff, tables, chairs, computer, and other tools to work with. The office right now is closed to the public. Paying only campaigning. Yesterday they had a very big motorcade in Sandy Grande, about 10 vehicles and about 20 to 30 persons.
Wow.
They know the judge the last nail in a coffin. They know in the Mr. Ali. Thank you.
I wonder if it's the same license office they recently opened. It closed already? Wow. So viewers, we are going to have a discussion, and what we are going to have a discussion tonight on, as it's Fire Friday, the Honorable Prime Minister said, we do not need to panic. Now let me tell you something. You see, when COVID-19 was entering Trinidad and Tobago, they had it under control by placing people in various housing units to monitor them. So they were being monitored. And when they do left these centers, they were free of coronavirus. Now listen this. This is not to make you panic, but this is the reality of life. We are having COVID-19 cases, coronavirus, springing out of nowhere. And they do not know where it is coming from, because 2 cases so far, they are saying that they do not know where it came from. Would not this lead to a panic? This wouldn't tell you, well, hey, if the ministries them are saying that we do not know where this come from, how many cases like this are there in Trinidad? How many? And they are saying, do not panic. We need to save lives. How are we going to save lives if we do not know where these cases are coming from? Now before, let's go 3-4 months back. When someone came in, they would house them, they would test them, and they would test them, and they would test them. And if you're negative, you will go home. But if you're positive, you will stay until your test comes back negative. Now cases are surfacing up in Trinidad. The borders remain closed. You're asked to wear a mask, sanitize your hand, take your precautions, but cases are springing up now. And these persons, some of them never left Trinidad. They never left. So what are we going to do now? Let me tell you something. Before, they were monitoring it. All well and good. Now is the real COVID-19. You know why? You know why? Because it's coming up now. For this week, how many cases we have? About 9? About 9 cases just spring up just so? More than that? It just spring up out of nowhere. So the real COVID-19 now, the panicking and the worrying, it now starts. You know why I am saying that? You want to know why I'm saying that? Because it is springing up in Trinidad now. It's not no imported case again. It is not an imported case again. Because the country, the borders closed. It closed. And there's only people from the Western Peninsula coming into Trinidad. Think about that. Think about that. Call a good night.
Sorry, the thing is that the National Security Minister is saying that the border closed, but cigarettes flooded and easy. How they come in? And why do the patrol boats and they can't intercept them and spend them back?
I understand what you're saying, caller. Thank you so much. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parashram said, COVID-19 epidemic in Trinidad and Tobago has evolved, and there are now clusters of cases. He was speaking today at a media conference held at the Diplomatic Center in St. Anne's. Parashram said, this country is listed under the World Health Organization as having occasional cases not linked to each other. That's what he said. He reported that positive cases now stands at 169, with 28 at Cora Hospital and 1 at Cuba. Parashram said from case number 139 to 169, there were imported cases, generated cases, local and those pending investigations. That's what he said. Head of the epidemiology ward, Department of the Health Ministry, Dr. Avery Hines, said contact tracing was ongoing for families, workplaces, and other places. Hines further stated that the public health measures, such as closures of workplace, business place, and schools, will be implemented as necessary. From 139 to 169 were imported cases. When last did we heard someone coming into Trinidad and Tobago from a closed border? When last did you hear a plane or a boat landed in Trinidad that bringing our nationals home? When last did you hear of that? I am asking you tonight. Caller, good night.
Yeah, good night, Said.
Go right ahead.
Yes, Said, it's a good thing the border closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the people, anywhere you go, the people are putting on no respirator. They walk with their mouth open, and they are putting on nothing. So they have a right to get the disease.
Mm-hmm.
The disease is spreading with their mouth open right in Trinidad and Tobago. They are putting on nothing. Anywhere you go, all of them, they're normal.
Thank you, my friend. The Siparia District Court was closed today until further notice. A media release from the Judiciary said there were concerns that an employee at the court may have exposed to COVID-19. The Judiciary explained that the employee may have been exposed to a primary contact of someone who has tested positive for the virus. So, listen to this, common sense. If this person have tested positive, this person, where did he get that? Did he get that in or out of Trinidad? In or out? Because when last did a minister or a medical team came out and say, well, we had 15 people came in from so and so country, they came in this morning. When last you all heard that? When last? I am being real with you all. When last did you hear that? Because it's been quite a while since I have heard a minister or a ministry saying that X, Y, and Z, 15 of them came in, and they came in from this country, and they are being held at there. So if they are being held at there, how come this one catch it? How come? Because if 15 of them came in, and they're in the Manny Ramjohn Stadium staying, how come this one catch it? Could somebody answer that? Let me tell you something. It really now starts. Before, when they came in, you used to put them in a unit. Now, it's springing up. And everything is contact. Came in contact with a positive. Came in contact with a positive. Came in contact with a positive. And everybody that bring in, every individual come in, they're quarantined for 14 days. So if they're quarantined for 14 days, how the hell you come in contact with that positive? You tell me. You tell me. Caller, good night.
Very good evening to you, Mr. Said.
To you, my friend.
And your last couple of sentences make so much of sense. I like what you're saying. And I agree. But what is frightening, though, is that quite a lot of people is not adhering to the public health ordinance.
I understand.
People not wearing masks, people still not social distancing. And I have had the experience recently where traveling in a maxi to Port of Spain, myself, the driver, and 2 others was wearing masks, and everybody else was without.
Thank you, my...
They say, no mask, no service. Isn't the maxis providing a service?
Yes.
And so to the maxi drivers should be told that if you're coming to the maxi without a mask, he should refuse your entry. All the best side.
Thank you, my friend, and I quite agree with that. Because many business places, if you do not put on a mask, you cannot enter. Since these cases start rising back, that's their policy. The judiciary explained that the employee may have been exposed to a primary contact of someone who have been tested positive for the virus. If you're bringing in a plane load of people and you're setting them up with different units, how this individual come in someone who was positive? How did he get in touch with that person if they quarantine people that they're bringing in? Common sense, viewers. Think about that. As a result, no in-person hearing were conducted at the building. The building have been closed for sanitization. The date for the reopening of the building will be announced once it is determined. Caller, good night.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Go right ahead.
Yes, the Venezuela is coming in and spreading this COVID. And they have sex leave here going on. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. So viewers, now we have a situation in Trinidad. Now we have a situation. So what are we going to do now? How are we going to address this now? Because this could be any part of Trinidad that have these cases now. Now is a scary time. And I am telling you tonight, take all necessary precautions for the safety of yourself. For the safety of yourself, not me. For your safety, for your children's safety, for your wife's safety. Because you never know when you could go out of your house and you're mingling around 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 people for the day and you could get it. Because keep in mind, nobody's coming in with a plane. Nobody. So keep that in mind. Caller, good night.
Hello, good night, sir.
Go right ahead.
Sir, take me serious. I ain't joking. I cure 4 people with this virus because the reason why they didn't.
You there?
Yeah.
Go right ahead. You go right ahead.
Yeah. They didn't, they know that there is no medicine outside here for them. And I cure 4 of them. I have the medicine and I try to get to the U.S. Embassy to find out. I would like to speak to the ambassador. And if you can help me with that one, with that number. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. So we're switching gears a bit from COVID, viewers, but feel free to call in 2386716. United National Congress candidate for Moruga Tablan, Michelle Benjamin, is promising 3,000 jobs for the residents of Moruga Tablan. She was speaking at the party's virtual meeting last night. Benjamin brought the People's National Movement to task, saying that it has neglected the people of the area, that is Moruga Tablan. She criticized the recent sod turning ceremony for the Moruga fishing port.
You come now 14 days before a general election to mamagai the people again? I said not this time. How dare you, Mr. Rowley? You have insulted every single constituent of Moruga Tablan. You shut down the refinery, costing us not just jobs at Petrotrin, but the little food sheds, the parlors, the fruit stalls, the doubles man, everything was closed down.
Benjamin questioned the closure of the state-owned Petrotrin.
I could tell you as I walk through Murga Tablan, the cry of the unemployed is real. The cry of the single parent is real. The cry of the suffering constituent is real. Catsil is in my Burgess. I know well what I speak of, and Rowley and his best friends would also know well, because this is where the $100 million of fake oil came from. And it is so sad. If you take a drive through St. Mary's today, you will never believe that $100 million came out of Saunders Trace. We have nothing to show for that.
Now viewers, I actually went and saw that. If you go there and you see that, you would want to know if $100 million really come out from that. Serious, I no lie. I was shocked. I was shocked to know $100 million come out from there. I'm telling you. Benjamin said, under the UNC administration, the people of Murga Tablan will benefit from 3,000 jobs.
We have already identified as significant areas of concern for immediate treatment. A new UNC government commits to our UNC Plan 2020. Lower corporate and personal taxes. We will create 50,000 jobs as preached by my political leader. And guess what? We bring in 3,000 of those jobs in the first year to Murga Tablan.
So that is their promise, that this is what we are going to do. Now, I would also tell you viewers, party come, party go. Now it's campaigning time. All party make promises. But you have to know exactly what you want in your district. You have to know that. So before I go any further, I would like to shout out Kadeen and Aaron. Is Aaron? Yes, Aaron Trinidad. Now I gotta tell you something. The mom messaged me today and she said, Saeed, my two sons, 1-8 and 1-9, and they are telling me that, Mommy, we want to dress like Saeed. I was like, wow. She said, my son are telling me that we want to dress like Saeed. Why you want to dress like Saeed? Because Saeed always looking sharp on TV. I laughed when I saw this message. And I did tell her that I would shout them out tonight. So Katie and Aaron Trinidad, good night to you guys. And I will tell you something. When your appearance look good, it speaks volume. It speaks volume by the way you dress. It speaks volume to the population. People would look at you as, nah boy, you see that man? That man is dressed nice. He's about something. He have some morals and values. So my dear mom, continue dressing the kids and them sharp, and they would have proper morals and value when they grow older. So I do thank you all for viewing Real Talk. Katie and Aaron, thanks guys. I really enjoy reading your message. Call her good night.
Good night, Mr. Saheed.
Go right ahead.
You know what I like? You do a good job.
Thank you.
And I call to tell you that everything that you'll be saying will be the truth. And let me tell you something with this election. Plenty people don't look to only vote for race.
That is correct.
They're not studying what Kamala doing. If you watch and see what it is she doing. But every time you hear, I amongst my own people, Mr. Saheed, and I just hear them talking on the race, about the race. Only race is my daughter-in-law from Pinal. My grandchildren, them is Indian, mixed. And CNN could never get my vote. They could never get my vote, Mr. Saheed. And when you're talking style, and you're doing it in style. God bless you.
Thank you, my dear. Talking about that, I'll have the video where the bad roads. Put it up. Viewers, I'll listen to what this gentleman is saying.
Yeah, Kanye Central is a UNC stronghold, and for over 20 years, it's the same shippiness. Every year for election, they will come out and say, come vote for me, and they do one thing. Watch out them. A waste of time. It's a set of talkers. Watch them. A set of talkers. When UNC, PNM, a waste of time. A waste of time. Over 20 years I live in here, and you were like this.
So you see that, viewers? That is Caroni East. And according to the individual, he had been living there for the past 20 years. UNC and PNM. And that is the conditions of the road presently. So it's the same thing I am saying. Party come, party go. But is your conditions changing? Is the way of life that you live, is it changing? Are you going up or are you going down? I will not tell you who to vote for. But you have to know what you want done in your area. And if your councillor or your MP is not showing in your area for the last 5 years, let me break the news for you all. Look out for them in the next 2 weeks. Because after that, you may not see them again. Let me tell you something. Party members, all they want is to go up on that seat, be elected, go up to that position. A few months after, you're driving a 120. You're driving a 120 before you become a MP or a minister or something. A couple months after that, you're driving a Ferrari. You're driving an X5. You're driving a Porsche. And a few months in office. As you turn MP, you're driving that. Really? Can I see the councillor, please? When will he be in office? Well, he could come Thursday. When you go Thursday now, all right, just fill out this form. You seen him? You're meeting him. Just fill out this form and drop it in the box. Thank you for visiting the office. 5 minutes and that is all. If you're drinking tea, watch me. You get the tea hot and you leave the tea hot on the table right there. All I feel is joke I'm talking about. All I feel is joke. This is coming from people in different constituencies. This is the report of them. We don't see how many times callers call in and you always hear it. Caller, good night.
Saeed, good night.
Go right ahead there. You're live on Real Talk.
Last night was your night to congratulate you. Tonight I'm ready for them.
Let me hear you.
Saeed, I called into your program and I told them the second bout of this virus going to be worse than the 1990 coup. And I'm sure people didn't take me seriously. When they started to let people in and I said, why? Plenty call and bash me. I wonder what they're saying now.
True.
I hope they're still in the comfort zone where they were. And they see what is happening now. When I say who out there. Because if there are only borders open, is the airport open too? People coming in and going out. And when they bring it in, you see who gets in the end of the stick.
Yep.
We here, rowdy, and you want to vote you back. And you're not working for the people, you're working against the people. You have people suffering in this country. Government go, government come, we suffering. But this regime, we suffer worse. Just like when Robin, Prime Minister, Saeed, I don't know if you could recall, but we couldn't buy milk. I couldn't even buy Klim for my children. I had to buy little pack milk and give them because it was real banga. Cost of living allowance was frozen.
Robinson never gave you it. We eat apples and grapes, Saeed. We had to eat mango and pumpkin for Christmas.
Thank you very much.
Remembering. Thank you, Saeed.
Thank you, my dear. All I feel is joke when I was telling earlier. Robinson told us to eat pumpkin for Christmas. All I feel it was joke. Listen to what the caller say. I remember that. All I want apple, eat pumpkin. And that Christmas we had no apple in Trinidad. None. I'm telling you, I remember that. All I feel is joke. Let me tell you something. Now is your time to demand what you want. Now is your time. It doesn't matter who in office. It does not matter. If they're not performing, send them out. Just how you have the power to put them in. Come August the 10th, you have the power to protest in your community for what you want. And if they're not doing that job, embarrass them. I will send a camera crew to record it. Because you cannot tell me you all find up yourself to us and want me to vote you, and when time to see you and we voicing a complaint, you can't do nothing. What the hell you offer yourself for? To collect between $30,000 to $50,000 a month? To build a bungalow? To drive a nice car? And you forgetting me? Nah, man. Nah, that can't happen again. Too long we suffer. Too long. Call a good night.
Good night, Saeed. I think that is well said. That I must commend you. Those are well said. Now, what I want to just talk briefly about Petrotrin. So, why is it that they closed Petrotrin against all the reports by the expert not to close it? What is the real reason behind closing Petrotrin? Is it because of friendship, in the oil scandal? Now look at the amount of money that was going to be recovered by the previous government, $12 billion in the Malcolm Jones fiasco. It was, that was just dropped. Now, the OWT taking over Petrotrin. I would like them to make a public disclosure before this election, whether it's the government or the opposition. How much bidders was there for Petrotrin, and why was OWT given preference? Secondly, in an election, just days, mainly days before an election, without even the request from the OWT, the government called them, what, we are going to sign a deal. We are going to give you, and we're giving you 7 years to pay. We're going to pay a little down payment. Why is this is not the PNM Petrotrin, this is not Rowley's Petrotrin, it is Petrotrin belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Why must they be deprived, to have even the information? Secondly, with regards to the observers, Mr. Prime Minister, you must know what date you was calling election. Is it that you have some sinister motive why you do not want these observers in? Now you're telling, I have been hearing now that that the election people could tell you, the EBC people could tell you what, we are suspecting you of having COVID, so you cannot vote. Seeing that a of these EBC people, apparently is supporting one political party. Other political parties are still at disadvantage. I would like you to shed some light on that, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. So now, viewers, the minister is saying, Roche is saying, Patriotic Energies is the company that will be taking over the refinery. So here's what I want to find out. How many of us know about Patriotic Energies in Trinidad? Technologies. How many of us knew about this company? Where did this company came from? How long have this company been existing in Trinidad and Tobago? Is somebody financing this company to buy over the refinery? Or is this company generating its funds to purchase the refinery. Now, I am not saying anything bad, you know. The questions that I am putting to the minister is for clarifications to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, because the refinery, Petrotrin, the oil sector in Trinidad and Tobago belongs to the who? Who it belongs to? A government? Does it belong to a government, or does it belong to Trinidad and Tobago? Even the director for Patriotic Technologies, he wants the Prime Minister to come out and tell the public. He wants them to come out and tell the public, is the sale have done in secret? So how long have this company been existing in Trinidad? Who is financing this company if they are being financed to purchase the refinery? What are the background checks with this company? I am not bad talking the company. All we need is clarifications. That is what we need. Because any company is going to buy out another company. They have to produce registration, tax, annual receipts, financial statements, a job clarification background, all companies. So how come we have not heard about this company existing in Trinidad and Tobago for 20 years, or 30 years, or 50 years? I am not bad talking the company. If the company make 2 or 3 million, 100 million a year, it's up to them. It is up to them. But keep in mind, the refinery was not making money. Petrotrin were not making money. But when you hear of the huge profit Heritage Petroleum making, it's like, wow. So if the refinery could make it and Petrotrin couldn't make it, how come Heritage Petroleum making it? Didn't the union ask the government this question? Before they shut down the refinery, didn't the union ask? Did Mr. Roger ask the government? Or the Minister of Energy, Franklin Khan, did they put the question to them? How come this oil sector here not making the money? And as they change ownership, according to Colin Inwood, boom, they're making money. How come? So my next question is now, what about the $100 million scandal? What is going to happen with that? How come the commissioner ain't picking it up? So because the refinery closed down, is it because the case closed down too? And I will keep talking about it. I will keep talking about it. A talk show host before mine drop an envelope on the desk. I have the evidence here. The next day, about 100 police break down the door. About 100 police break down the door. So if there are evidence, what is going on with the case? If Fire Friday is $100 million, is it scandal? Telling nobody is shutting up my mouth, you know. If you tell yourself you're sending a hitman, be very careful, because that hitman might come back to hit you. And I am proud to say that because I know who I am. I am not one of those man, when you open your eye, you see a gun pointing at you. No, partner, not that. I do operate so. When you're coming for me something, you tell me, Saeed, they're coming for you. Where were we to do? break their neck on the highway. Accidents. Or either send them back to the man who sent them. You feel this amount outside here, just so? Think again. So these are my questions. Just how the citizen wants to know, but the refinery not making no money, Petrotrin not making no money, but Heritage Petroleum making a huge profit. This is the same company that say they're making nothing. Ownership change, and this one making hundreds of millions. So is anybody inquiring about patriotic energies and technologies? I am not saying anything bad. I am not. I am not defaming the company of their name, but I know of certain paperwork need to come forward. That is what I know. Caller, good night.
Good night, Saeed.
Go right ahead.
Yes, Saeed, the present administration never pass no money for regional corporation to build bridge and road. So when you go to the councillor, they say flat, they don't have no money. And then under the UNC government, last 5 years from Pastor and they coming straight up. Pastor, they never raise tax, they never raise gas, they drop food price, they do everything about it. You understand? So how people could say government come and government go? The people blind like they can't see. And Heritage Gas is the next one. They come in Barco and only hazing farmers about the old private land. Heritage Gas, this Heritage Gas.
Thank you, caller. Like I said, let the farmers come together, and every time the security come, tell your boss, come and move my pipeline. This is my land. I should have had land with a pipeline running. But you making joke. You making joke. You have to move that pipe. Because you're taking bullying from nobody. This is not your land. You have no idea how hard I work and sweat for this land. And you want to come now and tell me, well, I can't go in my land. You go back where you come from. I stink like that. Go back where you come from, otherwise I run in you. Yeah. So listen this. You have a call on the line? Caller, good night.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Ali.
Go right ahead, my friend.
I have a problem with the union taking over Petrotrin. In the sense that there are no suitable qualified persons to run an oil company as large as that for the processing of gas and oil and petroleum products. Except for decisions that have been making them hard Trinidad and Tobago for use for certain people to be head of trade unions in Trinidad and Tobago. Right? So that in itself is a problem. And by the trade union taking over that plant going to be abandoned with bush all over it and birds making the nest as soon as they take that. If the government do not give that plant the suitable qualified institution to run that. Because if you don't have enough oil, you could import oil at a cheaper price, a dog cheap right now, and sell back the byproducts for better money.
Thank you, yes.
The trade union taking over that company is problems, and soon it's going to be abandoned with bush all over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. Election and Boundaries Commission has announced that area offices are now open for special electors to select their envelopes for August 10th general election. Special electors are usually members of the Protective Service and EBC staff who are likely to be on duty during voting hours. This also covers in hospital patients, members of flight crew, prisoners who are allowed to vote, and those who work offshores at petroleum companies. Special electors will have working days between the hours of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and weekends between the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. to collect their envelopes. They will have until Saturday, August 8th for collection, as all collector must work with at least one form of picture ID for collection. So those of you in the special service, you have till Saturday. Political parties. For the Progress Empowerment Party, PEP, Philip Edward Alexander said he finds it remarkable that President Paula May Weeks thinks the election does not need to be postponed. He was referring to a letter received from the president on July 30th. The president's letter came in response to a letter by Alexander in which he asked for the election to be postponed. In her response, the president said PEP's letters was the second one she had received from a political party asking her to postpone the 2020 general election. So this is the second letter that the president have received, viewers. The president said any discretion to be exercised following the proclamation of any outbreak of infectious disease must be in the context of some dramatic and exponential changes of circumstances since that time. So we will just have to wait and see what takes place from now until August the 10th before any proclamation comes from the president. In response, Alexander said the party took notes of weeks' position that nothing has changed. Alexander said there is a lot of information in the public space about persons claiming to be ignored by public health when they call to ask to be tested because they are displaying symptoms. That was his views. Angry residents of Caroni Central. That's the video you saw just now. The residents angry. UNC come, PNM go. They say for the last 20 years their roads have been like this. So what are they going to do? Who are they going to vote? Who are they going to vote? Which party they trust now? Since both parties have failed in their area. Let's wait and see what will happen. Caller, good night.
Good night.
Go right ahead there.
Mr. Saeed. I want to ask you something. Why they don't make the people in the villages and the villagers leave there when they get contracted to get outside people to do work?
I didn't hear what you say clearly, caller.
Why they don't take the people from in the village and give them work instead of bringing people from outside to work?
Oh, I understand what you're saying, and that's a very good point. That is a very good point, caller. Thank you for making that statement. So, viewers, as we move on, we're sticking with the current affairs. Thank you for making us the number one, by the way. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said there will be general election on August 10th, 2020, and I will not be postponing it due to the increase of COVID-19 positive cases in this country. Addressing the public following an Eid al-Adha observation in San Fernando this morning, he said elections will happen as the government continues to manage the deadly virus. If there is any way or any plans to lock down the economy to prevent the spread of COVID-19, he stated, we would make decision on the facts of the circumstances. So the PNM, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago was at a San Fernando mosque this morning observing Eid al-Adha with, I believe Kazim Hussein was there also, which he's a Muslim. Well, I just want to thank the Prime Minister for attending the mosque and observing Eid al-Adha with the Muslim community in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's just hope that this thing don't get out of hand. I am hoping that it don't get out of hand because this is the real deal now. This is where the government of the day have to show that they really care about the people. Now is the time. Now is the time. Because cases are springing up. It is springing up. From where? They don't know. They don't know. So if they want to come on a platform and tell you X, Y, and Z, I just hear different. I just hear differently. Very, very different I just hear. Because people will say, Saeed. Hello? Saeed, yes? Boy, so and so and so, I work in so and so and so, I am the head of so and so department. And X, Y, and Z is the case. I was like, okay. Okay. But the thing is, if they come out and voice their opinion, in less than 7 days' time, they will be home because they would receive a letter and they will go home. So the safety of their job, they will not expose themselves. But you know, we just bring real thing to the table. So they trust me. And that is how it goes. So viewers, before we close off our Fire Friday night show and the last show for this week, I am pleading with you to feel free to make a donation to our Rape Crisis Center. Like I said, it's the only center in Trinidad that will be able to house rape victims. This is how the back of the building would look, viewers. This is the landscape. This is where a rape victim can go and relax in peace of mind, knowing that somebody is there for her. Knowing somebody is there for her. There's the ambience and being around somebody who cares for you, being a victim of sexual abuse. That alone will give them an encouragement to live. That alone. So viewers, I am asking of you, feel free to make a donation to this center. It's almost it's about $10 million we're raising. It wouldn't happen overnight. I know that. I am not God. I am not God, but God permit 10 people write $1 million check. You know what happening there? Boom! Whoops, vaps. Yeah? Whoops, they write $1 million check. Vaps, they drop it on side table. Remember the minister? Viewers, it's been a pleasure. It's Fire Friday. It's the weekend coming up. Please be safe. Don't indulge in anything that you would be held against your will or any police station for an act that you would commit. And I will gladly see you here on Monday. I do thank you. I do thank you for making us the third most viewed news forecast. I have to say news. I have to say news because we bring news in depth to you, the people, where we communicate with you. Communicate. So viewers, thanks once more. It's a celebration for me tonight, but nevertheless, I have to work more hard because I have 2 giants I had to beat. And with the grace of God, we will get there. It's been a pleasure being with you for the past 2 years and some months. Until we meet again Monday night, Mashup Monday, be safe and enjoy the weekend. Good night.